We all know that music is a creative pursuit. It's also physical, mental, and emotional. It's common knowledge that studying a musical instrument has an abundance of benefits. Everyone here has either played an instrument at some point in their life or knows someone who grew up playing. And most people probably don't play anymore. Why is this? Why do we embark on this great musical venture only to quit years down the road? And then perhaps repeat the cycle by putting our own children in music lessons. Music is a form of art, and art is a creative way to communicate and express. But what if studying a musical instrument is educating us out of the ability to think creatively? What if it's teaching us to value perfection over imagination, innovation, and ingenuity? What if it's asking us to fit inside a box? Music can teach us discipline, patience, and how to overcome challenges, as that's what practicing is all about. But what if musical education is turning people away from music, causing them to tune out rather than tune in? Because it's just too damn hard and no damn fun. My name is Karley Parovsky. I'm a musician and musical educator, but first and foremost, I would call myself a curious teacher. I've been working with students and parents at the Conservatory of Performing Arts here in Regina for about 10 years now. I myself have been a student of the violin for close to 30 years, and thankfully the learning has not yet stopped. Today, I am here to share with you what I have learned about the importance of staying connected to our creative roots, and how the study of music isn't just about mastering an instrument, developing a great memory, or becoming a star. Rather, it's about getting to know oneself and learning to accept where we're at each step of the way. Learning to play a musical instrument well is difficult. It takes years of dedication and persistence and hard work. And the hard work is necessary. There's no arguing that. Some of the proven benefits of studying a musical instrument are improvements in verbal processing, visuospatial awareness, literacy, memory skills, mathematics, IQ. Students learn what success from hard work feels like at a young age. They also learn to develop their critical thinking skills. Being involved in music lessons has shown to increase social abilities and sensitivity. Perhaps through music, your child will find their greatest passion. Perhaps they will find a community in which they can blossom into the wonderful person they're meant to be. As a musical educator and musician, I have witnessed time and time again the power of music for the student, the musician, the performer. However, I've also witnessed another side of music, a side that makes people, children, feel small, discouraged, and incapable. Because because learning to play a musical instrument is so difficult and demanding, failure is inevitably a part of the process. Students spend so much of their time on mistakes, and this causes a strain not only on the student themselves, but on the relationship within the student's musical life, be it teacher, parent, siblings, or peers. Students are asked to jump through hoops, as it's expected that they constantly try to meet the demands required to advance to the next level, oftentimes at a pace set by the teacher and not at the student's own natural pace of development. The student's relationship with themselves can also be deeply affected by the messages they hear along the way. All too often, the voices of the teachers and the parents become louder than the student's own. This works for some students, But for others, it's inhibiting and slightly paralyzing. We spend so much time fixing and improving that we can end up ignoring how far we've come and forget to enjoy our successes. It's important to nurture the development of the whole child and the whole musician. In order to do this, some of the focus needs to shift away from the external measurements of success and be redirected towards the individual, the creator, the curious child. About a decade ago, I started teaching group classes for the Child Parent String program. We have many students come through this program. All of the students try to learn the repertoire as instructed by the teacher. We work on physical technique and developing competency in ear training, note reading, memorization, and physical performance. The students that are able to rise to these challenges the quickest are the students that we tend to see as the most talented. And the meaning of talent here is derived from these measurable skills. My perspective shifted when I met Jake, a 10-year-old student. I had seen Jake around the conservatory through the Child Parent String program, and it wasn't until we had a dress rehearsal for one of the final performances that I truly believe I saw the student for the first time. There was 3 things that hit me seemingly at once. One was his really poor technique. He was studying with a great teacher that is very capable of helping students work through the physical demands required to play the instrument. So I was pretty surprised. The second thing that hit me was his attitude. He didn't care. And not in a disrespectful way. I mean, he had found a way that he could play that just suited him fine. He was not worrying about what he couldn't do. He was happily and comfortably doing what he could. The third thing, and perhaps most striking, was what he played. He wasn't playing the pieces as instructed, which is so frustrating for a teacher. He was fiddling around and making parts up, and they worked. This young student showed an ability for music that I had not thought much about in a practical sense, the ability to create and the ability to improvise. Reflecting back after all these years, I see now what this student showed me was what freedom of expression looks like, the importance of experimentation, an ability to not care much what other people think, and how simple it could be to make something one's own. What I saw then, however, was the need for a class where students could take where they were at in terms of technique and life experience and use it to create. And this inspired me to develop my jam class. The jam class is where the students and I get together after school and we collaborate, we experiment, and we create. One of the greatest things about this class is every single class is different. The flavor of the class depends on who's attending that day and how we're feeling. The students voice their ideas, and they get to contribute to the creative process. This has helped our class evolve as we explore different genres of music, different techniques, and different art forms. For example, last year we created a piece where we took parts of Bach's Cello Suite No. 1, and we mixed it with a song called Dreams by the Cranberries, an Irish rock group. The students, the jammers is what I call them, each had their own part, and many of the parts were initialized or co-written by the students. The jam class started off with me teaching them how to play fiddle tunes, and that eventually led to us arranging the tunes, and so we started exploring a little more in depth harmony, chording, and rhythm. Then we started to pull from the diverse talents of the students, which meant we added singing and dancing. And then we were fortunate enough to also have really talented parents, and we drew on their skills on the piano, guitar, and banjo. Eventually, we started exploring writing and improvising techniques, which can be very nerve-wracking for anyone, but especially for students with a firm background in classical music. It takes courage and team support to be able to help each other face the fear that we have nothing original to say or that we're simply not creative. The Jam class has become a class where we nurture each other and we nurture each other's ideas. We leave room for mistakes. Mistakes are welcome. Vulnerability and fear is welcome. In fact, vulnerability and fear get a standing ovation in my heart when they show up. I encourage trying. Not trying to be perfect, but trying. Trying to leave judgment of self and others at the door. This is hard. The young boy that inspired me all those years ago, he's now in grade 10. In grade 6, he picked up the saxophone, discovered jazz, and has never looked back. He's able to put his talents to great use. Not everyone has that same natural ability to remain connected to their creative roots as they grow up. It's not easy to think outside the box or even to ignore criticism. But studying a musical instrument in a safe environment where imagination, innovation, and ingenuity are valued is a great place to develop these abilities. The world needs our talents. It needs our ideas, our courage, our creativity, and our individual voices. As parents, teachers, and musicians, we need to remember to leave room for creativity, personal exploration, and room for mistakes to turn into invention. We need to remember to leave room so the students can develop confidence in themselves and their ideas. Decades into my life as a violinist, I'm finding many new ways to enjoy music, dabbling in many styles, learning new techniques, traveling outside of this community, and learning and being inspired by the greater worlds and coverings. I hope to help my students find their own unique voices and experience the power of music. Studying something so intimately from such a young age highlights our innermost struggles and our most personal successes. Why not make it into an adventure? I hope the musical journey can be an inspired one, an enlightened one, and one where the students' curiosity can always be leading them to the next great discovery within themselves. Let's look deeper into ourselves and ask more from our musical education. Let's learn how to internalize the magic of music and let it help us uncover our own hidden treasures. Not just the treasures that the world thinks it wants to see, but the one that we feel the most compelled to investigate. The relationship that these young students are starting to develop with their instrument can be lifelong. A tool for professional gain for some, but more importantly, a tool for self-expression, self-development, and self-discovery. Thank you.